The views and opinions expressed on Lifeguards Off Duty are those of its hosts and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, the Jersey Shore #1 lifeguard-themed video podcast.
Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever streaming service you prefer.
If you would like to contact us, send an email to drkachmar@icloud.com. Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
All right, let's get started.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
She said they're gonna lock you up for killing me tonight. And then I bit her lip just a little bit harder. Well, I was so sure it wasn't real. But she's afraid of ghosts. Now I'm sleeping in her room.
Hello, this is Dr. Kachmar. This is Lifeguards Off Duty. Thank you for tuning in. Today's date is May 10th, the year of our Lord 2022. And we are streaming live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and we'll be posting this later on Spotify and our Apple Podcasts. So we have a lot of people in the room here today in our studio, and I just want to. We have Sean back, so let's see if I get the right camera. And we have Mr. Adams here, but Sean, say hello.
Hello.
We haven't had Sean here for a while, and we
Sean,
have our.
you're a graduate now.
I am.
Yeah.
You feel different?
I don't.
Yeah.
You
You,
don't
should
feel
wear,
any
well, you should have put your
I feel-
diploma hat in. Where's your hat? You know, and all that.
I at my house.
Are you going to walk at graduation?
I didn't. It already
Nice.
Really?
Nice. Neither did I. Screw
Yeah.
that.
I walked.
And we have
That's me.
Tyler here.
Hi.
I like that. I like that junior lifeguard shirt. That's really nice.
Thank you.
So that's what you wear when you teach the junior lifeguards.
Yes,
So
sir.
I love the color. It's really nice.
This is
And-
credit to Steve Van Heist. Maybe we can get him on the show eventually.
Yeah.
He texted me like
Yeah.
6 months ago, and he said, "Yo, I'm coming on the show next week. We're gonna talk about rivalries between beach patrols." Still hasn't happened. Steve, I'm calling you out.
So and we have a special guest today, and this is where is she? Here she is. This is Tyler's mom.
Hello.
And thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we love to get
Her name is Donna. Donna. We love to have you on here.
She's
and
in my phone as Tyler's mom.
Tyler's
That's
mom.
just rude.
Not your mom?
Not mom number 2.
Our mom.
Okay.
I'll change that to our mom.
Well, you know, it's funny because when I first started lifeguarding, my mom and dad were still alive back then, and this was in the 70s, and I brought a whole bunch of lifeguards to my house. My mom cooked a huge meal, you know, and a lot of those guys were living down in Seaside, and you know, their parents were up North Jersey, so it was kind of a treat, and it was really nice. Actually, one of the lifeguards who I invited down, I didn't know it at the time, but his mother and father lent the car that my mother and father used on their wedding day. Because they had like a really, you know, back in the 50s or whatever it was, you know, I guess it was, 54, 50. They didn't have, you know, they had a piece of junk car. And anyway, it was kind of funny. They, you know, we were at the table and my mom starts talking to him and the name.
They realize who it is.
Realized who it was, and then this whole thing. And his name was Kozakowski, actually, he worked on the beach for a while. So it was pretty neat.
So, Mom, what percentage of the current beach patrol would you say has been fed by our family, or has spent more than a total of 10 nights at our house?
Beach Patrol and guests? Like the Beach Patrol plus one? I would say well over 70%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We have become the
Don't say it.
the pseudo lifeguard house
Don't say it.
in the recent years.
Well, that's good.
Adam spent more time there than anybody.
Yeah, I spent even the winter time there sometimes. There was a period of time after I graduated school before I got my job where every single Wednesday for like 7 or 8 months, every week, me and Tyler stayed and just had like a chill night.
Rick and
I
Morty.
crashed. Yeah,
Rick and Morty.
that's literally why we had it on Wednesday nights.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, I guess the tradition keeps on going on then, you know.
Well, now we turned it into poker night.
poker night.
Oh, by the way, Mom, when not to put you on the spot or anything on live television, but so my mother just sold her house in Jackson.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, that's awesome.
Thank you.
But the market's not so easy right now, so she's gonna be coming to stay with me at our shore house for like a couple months.
Wait a minute.
The teacher becomes the student.
Can we change that a little bit? I'm not coming to stay with you. I'm coming to my house, and you are still there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just to straighten it out.
Beside,
Okay.
that's beside. Do you mind if we continue playing poker on Thursday nights?
No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, back to the show.
Yeah, no. Just for my information, I don't want to deviate from the show, but how tough was it selling it? Like, probably it was like crazy.
I put it up on a Thursday morning. It was sold by Sunday.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
and you got like a cash offer on day one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
When I was selling my mom's house. My mom passed away, and this was just so we kept the house for about a year. We didn't want to get rid of it. Sentimental stuff. It was kind of and we of course we all grew up in there. And then this was just when Corona hit, so it was that March. We put the house on the market right around June, so it was just in the beginning. And we heard these rumbles about things were going, starting to get crazy with the prices. And I put it up about 20, 30,000. I put it up on a high level, but I thought we had a really nice house. It was been fixed up over the years, and I should have known at that point. The day we put it on. And it was Dom who one of our former lifeguards. We had an offer the next day.
Yeah, it is. The market is crazy.
And that was, now you understand it, or it's been happening a lot, but that was unheard of. And that house right now probably get another 100,000 for it, But anyway, it's a crazy. So you had that many offers and you sold it, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna be roomies.
Yay.
Yeah.
Either that,
Are you
either
gonna
that or you moving with Nanny?
Are you gonna
I'll stay at the beach house. Sorry, Mom, love you, but
are you gonna buy in a couple of games on Thursday nights?
Wednesday nights? I thought
Wednesday night, Thursday nights. It's either or. It depends on work. For
Wednesday
Tyler
nights are
mostly.
hang nights.
Sure. I'm bringing my jug of change, so
Okay. Okay.
I'll be ready.
Well, good. Well, that's good. It could be a stressful thing selling a house, especially when they come in and they do the evaluation and then you got to fix this, fix that. You're like, come on, you kidding me? And some of the stuff I had, it was kind of weird. But one of my friends, they had a raccoon in the attic.
Ooh.
And we just had one next door here, and it turned into a nightmare. Because you think a raccoon,
yeah. They don't want to leave.
They're a little devious bastards.
They don't want to leave.
Well, what happened was they have
gotta
like
evict them.
they have a when they built whoever built the house, they put this kind of
30-day notice.
cathedral ceiling, and it's like a small attic space, like it's like maybe a foot, and I think it's a bad design. There's no way to get access to it, and that's where the raccoon got in. And I mean, it took them like almost a month to get that thing.
So what do you
out
gotta
of
do?
there.
You gotta like smoke it out.
Yeah,
There's no-
they try. Yeah,
There's no access. There's no like little
No,
thing. It's just an empty space.
Yeah, what they finally did is they heard the babies, and then they went in with a camera, and I mean, they had like a cage sticking out of the top, and I guarantee it cost them a fortune. I didn't even want to ask him what like how bad it was, because I could just see him. He's like,
That sounds.
and I
miserable.
asked him. I said, "Does insurance cover?" He goes, "Nope." They said it's an act of God. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And they don't even cover that stuff.
Sneaky bastards.
So anyway,
did
yeah.
you ever have any pests like that in Jackson? I know you came home a couple of houses and the house smelled like skunk. But
Other than lifeguards.
No, just mice. I mean,
Yeah.
we live in the middle of the woods, so you would expect that.
All right. Well, thank God you got rid of it, and not to get rid of it, but you sold it. And there's no stuff. So how about I'm gonna these guys have all these questions. So let me ask you. Can I ask you if I can? I ask the first question, and it really has to do with. It's really I think a topical question now, because we're the new USLA rules and regs and recommendations are coming out, and there's always been an emphasis on our patrons and making them safe and make sure they don't drown. But we've always cared about our lifeguards. I certainly have, and especially now we have a lot of young lifeguards. So now there's a re-evaluation and a reassertion of, hey, these lifeguards who are employees need to be protected on a whole array of different scenarios. So as a mother, since he's been lifeguarding, what has been like when he first got the job and all this time going on? What has been some of your concerns about maybe his safety and you know, what the job could do to him or doesn't do to him, and you know, so I would love to hear that. That's, you know, so.
Well, definitely his safety. He knows this many times. If I go to the beach where he's guarding and I see just idiots who are not listening to the lifeguards, it drives me absolutely crazy. And I want to go up to them and say, when you don't listen to them, you're not only put your life in danger, you're putting my kid's life in danger. And that really bothers me a lot. And he knows. I'll come home, and he'll come home later on, and I'm like, that parent who let their kid just swim out there, and they were at the back of the beach. I wanted to go up to them and say something.
All right, well, let me stop you. So I'm going to put down here, memo to myself. Do not let parents on the beach.
Probably not.
Okay.
We are good for food stops, because I notice several lifeguards will come up to, do you have something to eat for us?
But what about when he first? I'll let you help. You get your training to do it. But I just want to know when he first got the job. How old were you, Tyler? I forget.
19.
So what did you think when he first got the job? You know, about the
was,
safety factor.
Yeah, I was worried. We had talked a little bit earlier. I was like, do you get certified? Like, where's your training for this job?
Why were you worried about his training, like specifically?
Well, I was worried about liability. I'm a special education teacher. I come from that background where you always have to worry about what you do in the face of the public. Right. And I was worried, gosh, if something happens, you know, what legally happens to him if there is not a certification. Like, you know, since then I've learned he was. And also emotionally, I mean, 19 years old.
Yeah.
You know, you're not an adult yet, and if God forbid something happened while he was on duty, you know, that's a big big responsibility to take on for a 19-year-old. I can't imagine taking it on as a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old either.
Do you remember I don't personally, but do you remember like the first time you saw me go in the water after someone and like what that felt like?
Oh yeah, I was scared shitless.
Was it like was it like a rope rescue? Or was it just a snatch?
Oh,
I don't remember because
it wasn't. It was just him, you know, blowing the whistle, and then you know how it gets on the beach. Everyone stops what they're doing and looks, and I was
watches.
like, oh my God, that's my kid out there.
Have you seen him make a big rescue?
No, I have not seen him make a big rescue. No. I'm sorry.
No, did he ever complain about the buoy swims? You know, no, he never.
No, I complain about my.
He's complained.
I complain about my lieutenants all the time.
Yeah. I give them a hard. Now they know. You know. Now they're getting. See, you know what's funny? When they're younger, you know, I'm like the, you know, the a-hole. But as they get older, they start to realize, you know, I mean, that's my job, to go down there and remind them what their training is and what their responsibility is.
No, I mean, I'll be honest. I think he really admires you and respects you for the fact that you've done this job for so long and you know so much. You know, he comes. He'll talk to me and he's like, "Oh my gosh, the wealth of information he has and the stories he has."
Yeah, but when I'm telling him that, he's not that nice to me. They all are. They, you know, it's like funny. It's like my 9-year-old granddaughter. You know, I mean, I know she, you know, loves me.
You know, I had a long play against this guy, and you just blew it.
No, that's another thing. Do you know there's a running problem with my granddaughter and him? No. They had a fight. She's 9 years old. They're
Eva is not a Tyler fan.
Really?
You know what it was?
Nice.
You know,
You know, it is what it is. Cash
yeah. Listen, I gotta bring them together.
I'm surprised he's so good with kids.
No,
Yeah.
you don't know Ava.
She sees through him. She sees through him. That's what it is.
His
Most
charming.
kids, most kids aren't mature enough yet to see through me, but
I think it's the other way around.
But we, you know, you know, when I first started, we didn't have a lot of young kids. You know, 18. There's a big difference between 16 and 18.
Oh, absolutely.
And even, you know, and 20. And when they're older, you know, you could give them more responsibility. You know, nowadays, we have to be more cognizant of that, and it's hard. And like, thank God, I have Sean on the beach, and I always go down. And even though I don't agree with him all the time, and nobody agrees with everybody all the time, but at least he'll come up with ideas. Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. He's thinking like, you know, 4 or 5 chess moves down. And, you know, all of these guys here, everybody in this room here, you know, I want them on the South End with me, if I can, because they're really good. And when it's a really bad day, I need to have the best. But it's tough. But I getting back to you though. So you were worried about his liability, but what about his safety? Like, did you worry about the big ocean and like it's really rough and well, are you never really?
I never really worried about that until I guess it was last year when he came home and he said that Adam had said to him when he was swimming, did you know that there was like a shark near you or something? And I was like, holy crap, they're in the water too. And he's in there. That was the only time I think I really like thought about his safety in the ocean. Yeah. But, I feel now that I've seen him on the beach, I feel like he's well trained enough and mature enough now to handle that responsibility. So I really don't think of it that much.
We're blessed in Seaside that usually we have. I know when I work there, we have a lot of supervisors, so we're on top of these guys, and so we're the second. If there's something in the water, especially if there's an altercation, we're right on top of it. I won't tolerate not a minute of anybody abusing our lifeguards. I mean, they know that.
I once had a girl flip me off when I was whistling at her on a red flag day, and I just turned over and I could see Troy, our assistant captain, who was on the balcony on South End, who was directly behind me. I just looked back at the headquarters, and he just went on there. He's like, I saw that. I'm coming. Yeah. Didn't even have to do anything. They just sat back down.
Yeah. So we try to tell all the parents out there that we're very cognizant of that, very concerned about that. And now, especially now with the new rules and regs and our direction, it's going to be reinforced. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you got the boats, you got the jet ski, you got equipment on the beach. We had I was going to pull it up. There was a sheriff's officer in Florida just ran over a girl on the beach. Ooh. It was on the news. Yeah, he was going for a 911 call. I don't know what the call was. And if you're, it's hard to see some people on the beach. Sure. You have to be very, very careful. And especially with a big truck, it's a little bit easier with a mule.
Well, and there's barely any backdrop to see people against.
No.
If your headlights kind of just go off into the distance.
Well, no, it was during the day.
Oh, it was during the day?
No, it was during the day. Okay, but if you go over a berm,
no excuses.
She was laying on her back, supposedly. Maybe listen, my point is that.
She was laying down when he hit her?
Yeah, he ran her over.
Whenever I drive the truck on the beach, I'm always a little worried that someone is like buried in the sand. Like people bury themselves, like can only have their head sticking up. I've always had a nightmare of someone being like that and not seeing their head as I go by or something like that.
I mean, it could easily happen, but that's
why it's really important to keep a driving lane clear on the beach. That's really like what that back half of our beach behind the cans is for.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can't even get the ATV through. Yeah, it's insane.
No. And that's a good thing actually, because it makes you slow down. Like these guys, when we have an emergency, I'll say go get an AED. And they'll jump on the ATV and go 100 miles an hour. I'm like, and I said, don't rush. Go night. I mean, you can't, even when somebody needs the AED and they're dying.
Can't fix a problem by causing another.
No, you run over a 3-year-old kid who jumps up and kills them.
Whenever I'm driving the ATV or the mule on the beach, I'm always having to look out, especially when we're going through crowds, that all of a sudden like a kid jumping out, because kids are always not paying attention and everything, and they don't look left and right before they run out in front, especially when they're on the beach.
Put that he put that up there a little bit. Is it crackling?
Yeah, she's getting static.
I don't hear anybody.
Move it around a little bit.
No, that's not. It's where it plugs into the Rodecaster.
Or the headphone.
No, that's not the
Nothing?
one. Do it again. Can you hear it? Nothing? Talk into it.
I hear you guys outside of the headphones.
Yeah.
Move her thing a little bit. I don't move her like her whole thing.
Mic.
No, it's not the mic.
It's the connection right there. I had that same
move
problem
that.
last week.
Yeah, I fixed it though. I thought I did.
How about now?
Can you hear it? Just touch your thing here. Do this here.
We'll be back after a short
No,
message.
you guys keep talking. So
Sean, keep him entertained.
Hi. What's up, guys?
No, I can
you
hear
talk.
you
Yeah.
outside
So now
of
it's
the...
just me and you, Sean.
I know. You're not coming back this year, Adam. What are you doing to us?
I might be back for a couple weekends.
She's back.
Might
There
be
you
back
go.
for a couple weekends.
No,
You told us
might,
you'd come back.
dude.
I might be back
Don't
a couple
bullshit
weekends.
like
You
you're
told
not
us
going to
full
be there
time,
every
and
weekend.
then you kind of went back on it. Can you
Yeah,
hear
you
me?
go back on
I can hear you
You,
now.
you announced your campaign for Lifeguard of the Year and then dropped out like
Within
3
a
days
I did
later.
not announce any campaign. I said I was coming back, and then the unanimous response from every single person I talked to was Lloyd.
No.
Was Lloyd.
We'll go with that. Did you?
Okay, maybe it was unanimous, but like,
No, I think the unanimous response was, "Oh, so you're going for Loy?"
No. That's not what it was. It was like, you got my vote.
So, Mom,
Yes.
Did you grow up going to the beach?
My mother says I did, but I don't remember it. Once we moved to New Jersey, as a teenager, we went down to Manasquan a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So
she's a New York girl originally, Brooklyn,
Yeah,
right?
Brooklyn, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you do so
Long
Donna,
Island?
you do special ed, you said? No.
I'm a retired special education teacher. Yes.
So how about this one? I got a question for you with that because I remember you said that. And I wanted to ask you this. We over the years will get people come down, groups, special ed, school groups, disabled. Now it's autistic kids. And what's your feelings on? I don't want to put you on the spot. I mean, but what do you think about the groups like that coming to the beach and having access to the beach? And I think they should.
Oh,
but what do you
absolutely.
think about the challenges? Like, what would you, if you had you're an expert in that field, what would you say to us? Like, what would you recommend if they do come? Like, we want one-on-one, if they go in the water. But what's your, if you ever did one of those trips, what would you give us as advice, as lifeguards when a group comes down like that? What you would be looking at and talking to the counselors?
Well, I think the first thing I would do is obviously introduce the kids to the lifeguards, let them know where they are, maybe practice whistling and saying, when you hear this sound, you need to stop what you're doing and look, because a lot of the kids maybe have never even been to the beach before or never have had to pay attention.
So do a
to
little
the
lesson
whistle.
with them.
Yeah, a little lesson, what all your hand signals mean, up to your knees, up to your ankles.
Right.
Would you call ahead? Like, would you call the beach patrol ahead of time and try to set
would,
something like that
yes, I would try to set that up. Yeah, I
So-
think it's important because you want
That's
obviously
a
the
good-
kids' safety is the first thing, but yeah, just kind of a little lesson
I
beforehand.
like that.
Well,
That's
I
really
think
good.
we should talk
That's
to
really
Troy
good.
about setting something like that up with our junior lifeguard
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. So have a little get together on the beach, and then what else would you recommend? Like when they in the water, anything? What?
Tyler kindly prepped me for this question. I'll have to be
Oh,
honest.
I
for
didn't
a
know.
little
Okay,
bit.
okay. Well, I didn't.
No, I think really the most important thing is the whistle. And even if to make a game out of it, like when I blow the whistle, stop and look at me, because I think if you're not aware that that whistle means to stop and look at the lifeguard, anything that happens after that has no meaning.
Yeah.
So if you're whistling and somebody doesn't realize that means to look, you can give all the signals you want. They don't understand that. So that would be one. Like I said, the signals, even an introduction to the equipment that you use. If somebody does get in trouble in the water and you can talk to them and say, calm down, grab this, I'm going to pull you in. It's very different for someone who's not being able to communicate, to see someone swimming towards them with a piece of equipment that they have no idea what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, but
So
unfortunately,
maybe-
that's a lot of our normal people.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
They're not
triple
ex-
that for
you know,
someone
you
who
know,
has
you,
a disability.
you grew
it's
up in the
even-
middle of Ecuador somewhere. You've never seen a piece of lifeguard equipment, but not to be. I know these guys are like, oh, you're politically incorrect. But seriously, we have people who
Oh, I'm sure.
don't even know. But that's a good idea. That's a great
I
idea.
know, like when I was teaching, like the firemen would come in all their equipment and dress up, just so kids would know that if they're
that's
ever in
great-
a fire,
that's
that
great
this is what this
advice.
person is going to look like and sound like, because
Yeah.
you do sound different. So that might be something.
When-
Even to have them in the water up to their knees and have them grab onto a buoy or preserver or whatever you use, and just kind of make it fun, so that at least they had some exposure to it.
One of the interesting things that I'm honestly thinking about for one of the first times right now about special ed is that when you're working with persons with disability, can you clarify that? Because we talked about that yesterday.
People first.
People first. So
So a person with a disability,
So
a person with autism.
when you're working with people with disabilities, like the range of what they can and can't do and
Oh.
and what is overstimulating for one person might not be for another person, like that's probably the biggest challenge, is not even figuring out what they need to learn, but how to teach each individual, right?
Right, absolutely. I think it's important, and again, it ends up being a parent's responsibility, but I mean, would you guys feel comfortable or even more comfortable if a parent came up to you and said, listen, my child has special needs, I'm going to be with him all the time, but I want you to know, in case something happens, you might have to react differently than you would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's very important, because we've had situations, I've had them where, I'm on the stand or the lifeguard's blowing the whistle and the person's not listening, and of course, you fall into that trap where they're being belligerent, they're drunk, whatever, and then I might come down here and I look at them and I put the binoculars on and I'm like, I can see they're what I call body English, which people laugh at, but there is actually a definition, the way they move, and I kind of, my experience, I can kind of tell a lot of times, not all the time, don't get me wrong, but what I don't like is when the parents let the children go out there, they don't tell us, and then they don't supervise them. We don't. Most beaches, I think, are probably like us. We follow and try to follow the Americans with Disability Act. I mean, you go in the water. We don't want to stop anybody from going in the water, irrespective, as long as it's not too dangerous. But somebody who has, say, they have no eyesight, they're blind, or they can't hear, or they have severe mental or physical, impairment, that they need somebody, that person should be forthright and be with them and let us know. And then, we'll say, listen, go over here. It's safer. We can put them on a sandbar. We want them to have a great time.
Right.
And that really helps us, because that could stop us from going down a road and wasting a lot of time and assets on something that didn't need to be, assets orientated. Because then if we're going and dealing with somebody on one end, it reduces the assets on another end. Anyway, but I like that. So
Tyler, do you remember last year there was a woman on the beach with her sister who had Alzheimer's, and she identified her sister with a different colored hat.
Yeah, like a red hat or something.
Yeah, and they were going to be there all week. And I think she did. She went up to the lifeguards and said...
she came in, and then we were all notified about it.
Right. Yeah. So that, I think that's a good thing. I mean, as a parent, that's what I would do. If I had a parent of a special needs kid, I would kind of go up to the lifeguard and say, listen, I'm going to be here with them, but you never know. Wave, you guys know, wave can knock you on your knees, and then what do you do? So
I've always had parents of like special needs kids always coming up to me.
Do they?
Like, I can't remember ever noticing a kid or an individual with special needs without someone up coming and talking to me at first. I've always found that like parents were really like responsible and were always with their child or individual, and like always talk to us first, and I always were aware of where they were at all times, pretty much.
And I think it's good that parents obviously feel comfortable enough to come up to you, and that you guys are open to that and appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean,
you're more aware.
One of my main things when I teach young guys and girls is be approachable. Sure. But we did a show and we talked about the Special Olympics a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned that one of like the most impressive things I've noticed is that the parents of a lot of these kids are like the most incredible people. And I'll admit, like, I have like a specific like sample of people that like were involved in the programs you had involved me involved with, like the Challenger Sports and all the volunteering we did for the Commission for the Handicapped in Jackson. But that's one thing I've always noticed is how like big these people's hearts are, like when they're dealing with, and when their child is dealing with like such a hard situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and like you said, you don't know what kind of triggers kids have or what situation. I mean, could be some kids who don't like the feel of sand and are freaking out, which other parents think is an outburst.
Yeah,
which really isn't.
Yeah.
But when you're aware of it, then you have a little bit more.
Yeah. So Donna, just for our audience, and I think that it needs to be clarified, because this is something that it's not that you have like you said, the Special Olympics, and then you have the Paralympics. So you have people who are say they're got an injury or whatever, and they're blind, but they don't have any mental impairment, as opposed to where what we're talking about. And especially is a lot of kids, they're either autistic or Down syndrome, or
they have a developmental disability,
and or even brain injury, car accident, and now they and that's a different, and I think people need to understand that, and you have to accommodate differently, and like you make a good point, there could be triggers. And you need to be able to deal with that. One of the problems that I've seen, not that much anymore, but we used to have these big groups come down, and there'd be 20, 30 kids and like 5 counselors. And I used to argue with them. I go, I can't. And they come on the worst days, big ocean. I used to tell them go down the bay, but we don't see that much anymore. So thank God. I think there's a lot more education. But you make a point about the triggers, and so what other things would we be looking for, and that as a lifeguard, if these kids are on the beach, we you know.
Yeah,
that-
if we're in a situation where we need to like save a person with a disability, they tend to bite sometimes. Like I know from like my sister's friends and my girlfriend, like it happens, right?
Some kids. I mean, I think that's just a matter of panicking and not knowing
No, but
what
they
to
do panic pretty like
Yeah.
pretty. So
Some
in your
kids.
experience, what can you do to calm them down, especially in traumatic situations?
Oh,
Well, do you mind if I?
Good looking on that.
I think with the most important thing to remember when dealing with people with disabilities is that every situation is as different as you and I are.
absolutely.
That's the main thing to remember. There is no one way to approach that situation and be like, this is how, because you have autism, you have physical disabilities, you have Down syndrome, you have, I don't know, Mom, help me out.
Oh,
there's
there's
the list is endless.
Right.
You know, there's combinations like so.
Right.
Every
you know,
person is as individual as every other person. So
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
I can't say there's an overall blanket to it, but I think in your situation, I think education is really important, and the fact that you're even talking about doing something as a for
Yeah, well, a
group
lot of people are going to hear
people,
this. You know.
Yeah,
This is
that-
good. That's why we want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
I think that would be an excellent thing to do. Is even in the beginning of the summer or just
training on that.
training
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and just doing a day that
and
you,
also like bringing in camp counselors and people who run programs that are intending on bringing their kids to the beach.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
it's good that the parents
Yeah.
come to us. Tyler, can you just acknowledge? We have some comments here. We have,
Josie says hi, Mom.
yeah.
Hi, Josie.
And
And,
then, that's Joanne Lightbody Duffy. That's their good friends. They watch our show for years. And Joanne, thank you, Joanne. Joanne had COVID. She was pretty
Okay.
bad. She's doing really great now, and she was hospitalized anyway. Well, they're real good fans. I just wanted
Aw.
to reach out to them.
All right, Ma. I wanna talk about, like, you laughed at me last night when I said this to you, but your relationship with the ocean and your relationship with the beach. Sean asked you before if you were a beach girl growing up, and surprisingly, you said not really. Basically, Nanny said that she brought you, but you don't really remember it.
No.
So, for you, when did that start?
I guess when I was a teenager, we would go to Manasquan, and those were the days of baby oil and aluminum covered album covers. So
Hey, were you
and
doing
lemon
that?
in your hair. Yes, I was one
We
of them.
still do the lemon.
And trying to
Religiously.
synchronize the radio
That's-
station on your boombox with everyone around you, so you'd listen to the same station.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, I think that's when I started, and I loved the water, and I always liked to be in the water. And
You used to scare the shit out of me. We would go to the beach and she would just like swim out past the break. But like no one else really is doing that at the beach. Like we notice right away when someone starts swimming out past
Yeah.
the break. And she would be that person. And I would just be like, I wouldn't like leave I would just stand there and stare until she got back. I would be so scared when you would do that.
No, I always had a big respect for the ocean. Also, like this is kind of a weird thing, but I've never gone into the ocean at night. I still have that respect.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what could happen, and no one else is around. But yeah, when we started going to Rehoboth every year, I think that's when your love of the
Oh
ocean
my God,
came
yeah.
in.
We used to rent this house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Correct me anywhere I messed this story up, please. But my grandfather was an accountant for a publishing company called Worth Publishing in New York, and Mr. Worth owned this beach house, and he would rent it out for us.
He would
For
just
what?
give it to us for the week.
Like
Yeah.
like $100 to have
Yeah.
like a record or something. We stayed there for a week or two. It was so awesome. But those are my first memories of the beach. Is Rehoboth Beach.
Yeah, I think you were maybe 3 or 4 weeks old the first time you were on the beach. You were born in July, and I think somewhere in the middle of August we went to the beach, and you just came along.
Do
so.
you-
Everybody has
remember-
beach memories.
Do you remember the one time we went down to the beach and Alexis almost drowned? My cousin.
Yeah, she was with me. Don't you remember that?
She tried to swim out with you?
She went out. Well, we went out. It was rough water, and at the time I was not wearing contact lenses, so my glasses were off, and she's waving with both arms, and I was like, "Hi, honey, how are you?" And I swam out to her, and I had to help her in. But yeah,
Yeah, but there were no guards there, right?
I don't remember if there were guards there. Or
I
not.
think we made a cardinal sin that day. Luckily, nothing
Yeah,
happened. But
yep.
But those are the I even before I started guarding, I always remember that, like how like kind of scary that was.
It was scary.
Were the waves really big that day? I don't
Yeah,
because
it was
for me
after a
they were,
storm,
but I was
yeah.
like a little kid.
Yeah, they were big. They were pretty big.
So we already talked about like what you thought when I first came home. I was like, I'm gonna be a lifeguard. You've known like all three of us for several years now, you know, especially Adam, you know, Jesse, Faye, like you've seen us all grow and like, you know, become grown men and figure our lives out. And like what kind of credit or try to, what kind of credit do you give that to like the relationships we developed with each other on the beach, and like just working on the beach itself?
You know, I have to say one of the things that I'm most grateful for is that you do have such a close group of friends, because I think you've helped each other through a lot of situations personally and as a group of lifeguards. You kind of remind me of a frat that you've made lifelong friendships, and you guys know what you go through. So when there's things happening on the beach, you all are the only ones that know what you're going through. And I think that forms a bond that, you know, you guys are going to have for your lifetime. It's obviously been a pleasure getting to know you all. We hope that us opening up our home to you has helped.
Why are you looking at
form
me? Why are you looking at me?
You know, those Wednesday nights when you thought I didn't know you were there. No,
You have cameras, don't you?
No, I don't have cameras.
That means a lot. We you know, I don't. I mean, I've never been to the house, but I hear.
You're welcome.
You know. No, but I you know, the thing is, like, you know, when I was their age, you know, we did the thing with my mom, you know.
Yeah.
And it was always a special thing, and we also used to go out, a whole bunch of us, like every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, and just the lifeguards, you know, no girlfriends or wives or whatever, and then we would go to dinner, you know, like a local restaurant or something, and just pig out and have a great time. And, you know, it was really special. And I think that that's really good. There's also, we have an individual, his name is Fred. He has a house in Seaside, and he comes down to the beach, and he gives, you know, he donates a lot of money. He'll buy, he'll go out and buy a whole bunch of pies, you know, pizza pies, but also regular pies.
Yeah.
Didn't Fred have beef with us one summer and didn't bring us subs one time?
No, yeah, what happened was, no,
something with Dom, right?
No.
my
What happened was
gosh.
there was an altercation on the beach. Some people gave him a hard time, and he didn't think we.
We had his back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
That's
we
all
did.
the subs I
Hold
bought
on,
you.
hold on.
Shout out to Fred though. In all honesty, Fred's dope.
Fred is dope, but there was a moment where he was going to Seaside Park,
He got mad.
and
at
he
us,
was going on the Seaside Park, and he was walking down. He came during our workouts. He walked down the Seaside, it's through, and as his walk back to Seaside Park, Dom jumps in a Van Dyne and is like rowing into Seaside Park, like
Going head
like half a block behind him, just like I'm gonna track you. I'm gonna find out where you're sitting. I'm gonna come find you.
Well,
I'm gonna bring you back to the heights.
Yeah.
And I just remember Dom just rowing, and I'm like, why are we going on the park? And he's like, Fred's on the beach, we're following him.
Yeah.
And I was
Imagine he
just
just
like,
gets
oh
out,
no.
just drags him out into the boat.
Yeah, but the
Packs up all his stuff, puts it back in the Van Dyne,
Order
rows
the
it back,
subs.
rows it back.
Yeah, the point of the story is that we have had people over the years who've done that. I remember Ricky Hatrack was one of the lifeguards on the beach, and he became a trooper. And you know, we used to go over his mom's house. And we actually, back in those days, we would, towards the end of the summer, when there's bluefish, there used to be tons of bluefish. We would catch them. You know, we'd have poles, and because they come real close to the beach, get a couple bluefish, and then you know, we would shoot over to her house, and then after work, she would have them all cooked up, and I remember that.
Cool.
Yeah, it was all kinds of stuff like that. But I think that's so important what you do. I know, like a lot of the beaches where there's more of a, you know, like Lavalette and Seaside Park, where there's more locals or people rent out a house for a whole week. There's a lot of families that bring down food for the lifeguards, and that's really special. I think that, you know, if you are staying somewhere, and that's really a nice thing to do. The
Yeah,
kids really
we've
appreciate it.
Had leftover food come to the lifeguard station a few times, huh, Ty?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. That makes it that's one of the perks about the job. It's really nice, you know. And I remember because you see it, I don't know as much now, but I remember people used to come up and give us sandwiches and everything. And I tell you what, they tasted the best, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, somebody, you know.
So,
Well, you guys weren't even allowed lunch breaks. back in
No,
the
we
day.
had a half hour, but on Sundays, sometimes you had it, sometimes you didn't. You know, you bring your lunch on the stand, you know, because it was so crazy. Yeah, back in the day, we worked 7 days a week. for my first, I started in '76, and then I don't know '82, and then I went to school for a little bit. But it was pretty rough. But
Here's a
that's-
question for you, Ma.
Yes.
I was trying to figure this out yesterday. I don't remember learning how to swim.
I never taught you. I kind of
Did you just-
threw you in the pool and said, "Go to it, kid."
Like, I remember we always, even when before we had like the pool, you would get like the weird like fat bottom blow up one.
Right.
I remember being in there. I always remember playing in the ocean, and I literally just don't remember ever like anyone saying like, "This is how you swim." I just always remember being able to do it.
Yeah, you just kind of once we got to like the 3.5 foot pool, you would just go under the water and start swimming. I mean, you taught yourself how to swim above water, but underwater. I mean, you did underwater too, but I think that came more naturally for you.
I
You just
think-
kind of pushed off the side and then figured out, if I move my hands and my feet, I can do it without pushing off.
I remember I used to swim laps back and forth in our little above ground pool that must have been like 10 yards across, and it would like, oh my God, I would be able to kick like the whole way.
You
Yeah.
were a water kid.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that's a good point to make, because a lot of lifeguards that we have, and other beaches too, they're not all professional,
No.
college swimmers or high school swimmers. And so I want people out there who say, "Oh, I never swam in college or never swam in high school." If you could swim and pass the test, we don't care, as long as you could pass the test.
Well, that's exactly what happened with him. He was.
This is a good story.
I was at a gym that had a pool, and I became friendly with this one woman who happened to work with Steve. And we were talking one day, and she said that they needed lifeguards at Seaside Heights. And I said, "Oh my gosh, we have a house there, blah, blah, blah." So that's when
Meanwhile, I had been talking about taking a swim test in, I think it was Spring Lake, right?
I think so. So he came to the gym one day as a guest, as a pool, and just kept swimming until he could do it under
I didn't
enough time.
I didn't have goggles. I was swimming like.
Yeesh.
They were like,
But he
"What?"
did it.
They were asking you like, "What is he doing?"
He's practicing to be a lifeguard.
Yeah, he's gonna be the guy that comes and gets you. 2 seconds, I passed that first swim test by. 2 seconds.
Well, we have a lot of people who take the test and they're right on the border, right on the line, and then we train them. We train them.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
We train them, and that's why we do the buoy swims. So we got new kids coming in now. We're going to get them on the beach. We're going to work them out, and then soon we get them in the water. Because actually, we retest them, every day. I mean,
Right. Sure.
if you can't do the buoy swim, then you're out of there. And we'll give you. I mean, these guys know, and then if you can't get up to it. So, but I don't want to discourage anybody. If you're not a college or high school swimmer, but you could swim and you could do 500 yards, which is 20 laps in a pool under 10 minutes. You got it.
Well, that kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's really, I felt so much more comfortable with his safety when I would realize it's like, this is really on the job training. It's not, what you do, you can't teach unless you've had that experience.
Yeah, there's no theory of lifeguarding. There's
No.
theory.
No.
There's
No philosophy
Because
of lifeguarding.
There's no
No.
philosophy
There's no
of a rip
philosophy.
current. Like, it's either
That's
that
what
or
it is.
it's not.
That's what it
Yeah.
is.
But you make a good point, is that because I have kids who come on. I've seen them over different beaches and in our beach and Lavalette and wherever. They're great college swimmers, and you can know by their times. But they get in the ocean, it's a whole different animal.
Absolutely.
They get scared. They have a tough time going through the ocean, the waves, the coldness of the water. I mean, I'm swimming in 62-degree water, 60-degree water. I can't handle the cold water anymore. Like, it has to be 62. But even that, like, you go swim in 62 to water. So you got a college pool, a swimmer who gets in.
I don't care how good your flip turn is if you can't get through the sandbar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then
Those high knees.
You know what I'm saying?
And then I've also seen really good really great swimmers who can't figure out the ocean, don't know when somebody's in trouble, which is a very it takes a long time to identify something.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's one
You
of the
can't
things
see
to
somebody
know.
who's drowning, before they are really, yelling and screaming like you were talking about
Exactly.
your niece or whatever. we need to know that, and a lot of kids don't. So there's a lot. I think though that like a guy like Tyler and whoever didn't have a traditional background could be a great lifeguard. Doesn't necessarily mean that you can't. I think a lot of kids who listen to us or want to become lifeguards think, oh, I can never be a lifeguard or a good one because I can't really swim. I didn't swim in college. That's not the case. Not at all.
No.
So what do you have there for us?
I think we're trying a new segment right now.
Yeah, so I said we have one new segment today, but we actually have two. This is the first one. We're going to watch this video and react to it.
Why? What is that? What? Just so you know,
tell
I
me
can
what
see
you
it's a
think of
shark.
this,
I can see
Captain
it, yeah. Just so you know, there hasn't been a shark bite in New Jersey for the past 100 years. So.
There was just a 1,000-pound shark though.
About 50 miles, 100 miles, 300 miles off the coast.
That's pretty close.
No, it's not.
All right,
That
so this video Sean found yesterday. I can make it full screen for us. Oh, Jesus.
I can think the chance you getting bit by a shark in Seaside is
Okay, so
that
that makes me nervous for my son.
yeah,
Seeing
yeah.
Spit your leg out and then swim away.
Yeah, a nibble to a shark is a good chunk of meat.
I don't know about
they're
that,
just
Tyler, but
testing
I can tell you
bites.
right now, if you go underneath the board and look up, and if you look at a small board with a surfer on with wetsuit, you look just like a seal.
If that was true, then people would be getting
They do a lot of them.
rocketed out of the water.
Yeah. But here's the thing about I'll put things in perspective because it's great to show this, and I didn't know you were going to show it. I used to shark fish until about 6-7 years ago, and I would I would fish every summer.
What kind of
in
sharks?
June? For whatever's I could tell you. Let me go. I would go out 30 miles to the fingers.
Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Right. And
Imagine seeing.
yeah, but you're not going to see that around here.
You're just paddling out. That thing.
I don't know. Mary Lee pinged in the bay once.
Now, listen, you guys are
16-foot great white
you
shark
guys
in
are
the
just
bag.
scaring yourselves and scaring your mom. So I would go out, and we would go out 30 miles because that's how far you have to go out for them. And we would chum for hours and hours. And all the years that I fished, 30 years, okay, and all my friends and all the thousands of people who go out fishing for sharks every year in New Jersey. There's tournaments. There's the Mid-Atlantic. There's all kind. You catch makos and blue sharks. I've never seen, never heard, never saw a great white. Okay,
I'm glad to hear that.
And I'm telling you, it's not. So the chances. Now, years ago, what used to be around here was the bull sharks. That's the ones you have to be careful about.
Those are.
And there are a lot of them.
Aggressive.
And if you go look at the Australia, and they'll swim around the bull sharks. They just know, don't get too close to them. And if they're feeding, see, the key with sharks, so people understand, is that a lot of sharks will attack you mistakenly. There are certain animals that eat human beings. Alligators or crocodiles, I forget which one. Lions. And bears. Basically, you're on the menu. That's the bottom line. A bear attacks you, they're going to eat you. And there ain't gonna be. There might be a bone left.
I heard an interesting story because I was in a class in college called the History of African People.
Yeah.
And in Africa, lions don't hunt people or go after people. But if a lion ends up attacking someone and tastes the flesh of human, they will actively hunt humans instead of normal, their normal.
They do in India.
northern.
I don't know about your story, but I can tell you. I know the Maasai. It used to be to become a man in that society, you had to kill a lion.
Yeah.
And I have friends who over there, the Maasai will be walking along, a lion won't even go near them. They know.
Yeah.
But they in India, people get eaten by lions all the time.
Yeah,
they'll
thought
go
it was
into
tigers.
They actively
or tigers, maybe tigers.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Lions
Tigers are
actively-
savages.
Yeah,
Tigers are scarier than
They're
lions.
bigger than lions. They're
Right,
bigger than lions.
but get
and
back
they like the water.
But get back to here, and because we don't want to scare your mom, and I know you like these.
No, I'm starting to feel better because
these guys.
with bears.
What most I can
Yeah,
tell you,
right.
I can tell you what most people see is those dolphins. But when the bullnose stingrays come in, and they're and what happens is when they start feeding, they have fins that are like this, and the tips of their fins go up like that, and they look like sharks cut in the water.
Okay.
And you see a lot of that.
They do great shark impressions.
Yeah, they do.
It's incredible.
And you'll see,
clears the water.
the other thing you'll see is you don't see as much, but it used to be a lot of they eat jellyfish. They flop around. I can't believe I can't think of the name.
Skates.
No.
Sea turtles eat
Cash,
jellyfish.
you're banging the table.
Sorry,
Your camera's
sorry.
shaking everywhere.
It'll come to me. They're, but there's one that they follow, and I just read it. They pinged like way out there. They migrate. What's happening right now is the harbor seals were here. They come in March and April. They're all over the place. If you go down to Barnegat Inlet or the next inlet's further south, there's hundreds of them, and then that's when the sharks come around because they eat them.
Right.
And then once the sharks come, they leave, then the sharks leave because there's no food for them.
Oh, orcas?
No. What kind of sharks? Mostly mako.
Oh,
maybe some blue mako, and maybe some the killers. The big ones that you were showing there, the great whites.
Cashmore, pick up that piece of paper underneath the one on top.
This is time for the segment after the segment.
Yeah, we're trying to introduce this segment right now.
Wait, let's do a jingle.
Catchmore quiz.
It's Catchmore's creature quiz. Okay.
Working title for the name.
quiz?
What is the average length of a great
like-
white shark?
Wait.
Hold on,
You
hold on.
don't read it. You don't read it.
Oh.
I like
Sean
calling
is
it
running the
catch.
quiz. Catch.
So we're just asking you some questions, and
All
some
right, I guess catch is the winner.
Yeah, easily the winner.
Cashmore, what is the average length of a great white shark?
Within a tolerance of 3 feet. Should
Yeah,
we
we'll,
like
we'll
it
give it to you.
I would
Right, we're
say
gonna
8 foot.
8 foot?
8 foot.
The average length of a great white shark?
8
feet.
foot. He says
That's
average.
smaller than this table.
Yeah, but I don't know how. I don't know how.
Full-grown
Yeah, but-
great white shark.
No,
Why are you leading them on? You're
listen. First of all, how big? The question has to be when, where, how. How big?
I told you he was going to nitpick these.
No. But let me finish. You asked me how big. I know they could get up to 15 feet, 16 feet, or even bigger. What's the average now? I know they're getting hunted out of extinction, so there's not a lot of big ones around anymore. So I would say today. But what could the average size be? Like if you took all the great whites over the past 30 years, I would say probably 15 feet.
Is he within the 3 foot tolerance?
It's 11 to 13 is the average, but like you were within the gauge both times.
Right, but I know they're getting beat up pretty bad because people will get the shark fins and they use them for some aphrodisiac or
soup,
whatever.
shark
soup,
soup.
1
yeah.
point for Catchmore.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. What is the only natural predator of the great white?
Man.
No.
No, orca. No,
Yes.
killer whale.
Yeah. Almost had you on that one.
Follow-up question: why do they hunt them? Like, what are they after specifically?
I think they eat their
They wanna make
liver or their guts
Yes,
or
it's
something.
the liver.
Dominance
They wanna
of
make-
the ocean. That's what they're after. It's
funny,
Game
it's-
of Thrones out there,
It's
Adam.
just the liver. That's how picky they are.
That's cool.
Isn't that
We're
weird?
like, we don't want the rest of you.
Isn't
We just
that
like
weird?
the liver.
Yeah. That's
So
why I
weird.
say
Sean,
when
do you want
they
me to read the last 2 questions because they're a little?
I got it.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Cashmere, what is the scientific name of a great white? And I want to just let you know that Mike Fay got this last night off the cuff.
Yeah.
No, I don't know that one. I have no idea.
Carcharodon carcharias.
Yeah.
Carcharias.
I think I know what
something
the.
like
what-
They say it in Jaws.
I could tell you what I do know. Like the swordfish is something like what's the this for the sword gladiator or something like that because swordfish.
Yeah.
They're a wild animal. I mean a wild fish. But anyway, what's the last question? There's one more.
There's 2 more.
Oh, 2 more.
True or false? Are great whites cold-blooded?
Yeah, they're cold-blooded.
False.
Really, they're warm-blooded. They're not mammals.
They are called lamnid sharks, which have a unique system called a counter-current heat exchange, which keeps their body warmer than outside conditions by plus minus 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. So if a great white shark is in the 9 degrees water, its body temp will be around 19 to 24 degrees.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm not real good with what do you call it? I thought, but they are cold-blooded though. They're not a.
No, they're
not,
warm-blooded.
they're
It's like-
no,
it's
warm-blooded,
like
but they're not
somewhat-
mammals though. They're
Yeah,
not
it's
not
just
mammals,
somewhat
but they're
a bit of
warm-blooded.
both, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a trick
It's like
question.
the platypus, It lays eggs, but it does, I don't know.
All right, this next one's a softball, Catchmore.
Yeah, you got to listen to it. The
Yeah,
whole
go
thing.
ahead.
This location was recently discovered to be a major breeding ground for great white sharks. It is also the home of the Montauk Point Lighthouse, Billy Joel, and the Amityville Horror House.
Well, that's Long Island, but I don't know
Yes,
where.
it is.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's an easy one.
So
Give
there
it
was,
home on that.
there was a breeding ground for great whites just discovered in 2016 in Long Island.
Yeah.
Just cool fact.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I used to go fishing in Montauk with my uncle, and we used to go to the end of Montauk, to North Fork, and it would be 5 hours out to go cod fishing. And there was great whites out there, and it was usually in the wintertime. It was cold, and the codfish were huge. But you'd hear stories where you'd be pulling up the codfish, and the great whites would hit them coming up. Like I've had that happen here when I'm pulling up sea bass, and bluefish would hit them, and they come from bluefish come from the bottom and hit them. Yeah, it's pretty neat when you look at like when we see the bunker floating down. There's usually bluefish and stripers underneath them, and the bluefish will attack the fish from behind and eat everything except the head, and then the head would float down, and then the stripers go after the head. So if you fish stripers, you take the head of the bunker and put it down, and you catch a striper and not a bluefish. Pretty interesting. And that's like you said, the shark goes after the liver. It's weird how they the
orca goes after the shark's liver.
Yeah.
Do you know how they kill them?
I would just
They
chomp on
they
them.
figured
Flip 'em
out that if
upside
you
down.
flip. Why do you
Yes.
get finish, Adam?
I
Please
knew
go
that. I
ahead.
knew that. I couldn't help it.
They flip them upside down.
Yeah. They figured out how to flip them upside down. Does the tonic immobility?
I hate you. I'm ending the show.
I thought that was an open-ended question. You're asking like the group.
Whatever, dude.
Wolves.
Sean took all my questions as if he researched them.
Wolves. The alpha wolf gets to eat the liver of the kill they make too.
Damn.
And also, the alpha wolf walks at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
Because real leaders do that.
I was about to say lead. Like, don't lead.
Real leaders follow. All right.
Okay.
Don't you got another show to do?
Yeah, I was just telling Jeremy we got 10. No, it's really interesting stuff. I want to ask Donna one more question, but let me just put in here 10 more minutes here. We got some time.
Is Jeremy here?
Yeah, but Gabe's not here. We have another show, so we're doing a painless Dr. Jasper. Actually, it's his first show. So Donna, I think that it's interesting that you're a mom and you have this association with all the other lifeguards, and for parents out there, I think it's relatively safe. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be dangerous, but did you? And I don't even know how to ask this, but what is the benefit? Like all these kids that you see, you've probably seen them when they first started lifeguarding maybe, and then you've seen them mature. And I think I know the answer to this, but how much has it helped these kids, these people, mature, understand life, understand, people say, oh, I can make more money working at Burger King or Wawa, but there's other benefits working as a lifeguard. Can you just give me tell our audience, like, what have you seen as a mom and seeing a whole bunch of kids coming to your house over the years and them changing and that you could directly relate for them working on the beach?
The maturity level while they're working, that part of that part of growing up quickly and being responsible, I think is a huge benefit from working on the beach. Service to other people. I think my son's become more compassionate. I think all of you guys have become more compassionate towards other people, more tolerant. Absolutely. And I just think the friendships that they've formed, I mean, look at you. You've been a lifeguard for how long, and you still have friendships probably from when you started. I know that you still talk about people that when you first started lifeguarding. I think that's really important to have those lifelong friendships that happen, and just the bonds that are formed. Like I said, they've been through a rough couple years as a group, and they've stayed together. They supported each other.
Yeah.
The support that you guys give each other, I can't give Tyler. I can't empathize with a lot of things, so I've been really grateful that they've had the friendships that they've had to go through rough times and good times.
Yeah, well, that's a good.
Has your perspective of lifeguards changed since getting a window into like this whole world, like before and after?
Absolutely, yeah.
How?
One of the things, like I used to think, man, I could swim. Let me swim out there.
Yeah.
And then realizing, like, wow, they really they're protecting me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as a mom, seeing your efforts to keep people safe and people not appreciating that is kind of
Well,
frustrating.
that's human nature. One thing about lifeguarding I always say is that different than other jobs. I mean, police, firemen, first responders. You have the ability and the opportunity and the honor and privilege to save somebody's life.
Absolutely.
And that's an amazing thing. And I say to all these kids, I say, you guys go out and whatever you're going to do in your future life, you may not, you could be an accountant. I don't think you're going to save anybody's life.
No.
I mean, unless, you're a forensic accountant or something. But, my point is that this is an amazing job to do amazing things.
It is. And the benefits from it, even though that, like tolerance, especially, because I know that sometimes you're not treated that well by the public. And the fact that you can sit up there and still, the person that just flipped you off, you're still going to go out there and save their life at some point if they need it. And, there's not many jobs where people get.
No, that's a good point. And I was just actually talking to my granddaughter the other day. She had an altercation with some boy on the bus. No physical. He was like yelling in her ear. Like they're 9 years old.
She would beat up any 9-year-old.
I know she's tough. But I said to her, we were talking. I said, listen, you see me because she's on the beach with me. I said, you see people on the beach. I said, you can't. You can't use violence. I mean, you're gonna have to learn. People are gonna call you names, curse at you. I didn't tell but and say terrible things. And you need to de-escalate it. It's probably the best thing. We always teach tolerance. You don't know where they come from. They could be autistic, whatever. And I said, but we did say, I do say though, and there is a line, and I said to her, she's learning karate and everything. I said, listen, if somebody touches you, hits you, you have all the right in the world to defend yourself. But what I tell everybody here is we got to de-escalate things. You have to calm down, and the situation. You don't want to take it to that next level. I mean, and tolerance. That's a great that you pick up on that, because that's something we I'll take it to the next step. We call de-escalation, and that's what we really try to do. And that's really a hard thing to learn. Especially when you're younger, you want to get what you want when you want. And we had one of the lifeguards this summer it was an altercation on the beach. The woman didn't want to listen, and the husband was there, and he kind of not hit the lifeguard, but kind of pushed into him a little bit. It was kind of like this way, that way. And the lifeguard wanted him locked up and sent to jail. And I'm like, listen, you got to chill out a little bit. That wasn't really,
Well, and I think that's why it's so great that they have a strong friendship too, because things that happen like that, where you do have to be so much in control of your emotion and be tolerant, then you have the time where you can just oh my gosh, guys, what happened to me, and you can let it off. Yeah.
We literally every day we have a debrief.
Yeah, we do debrief.
You need that.
Right, and I'll go down, right, and we do that. That's actually, we do, and then I'll change the song. It's let's get something to eat,
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be 2 beer Sunday?
Let's go. Forget about that guy. He's an idiot.
We can decompress that spices.
Yeah. So, well, listen, you wanna pack it in.
Yeah, Mom, thank you for raising me, and Mother's Day was this weekend.
Yeah, happy Mother's for Lady Mother's Day. Yeah, there's no talk about a hard job.
I'm not saying anything you don't already know, but I appreciate you more than you know, and
well, that's good. That's
every nice thing you've said about me tonight is a direct result of you. So,
I know he gets that's really nice. And he gets always upset when I talk about the Bible and everything. But there's something about when how you treat your mother and father, and and to me is very, very special. And when you have somebody who and that's something that you need to do. You need to treat your mother and father, with respect and honor, and that's a good thing. So, and he raised a pretty good kid here.
Thank you. I think I did.
So, you guys want to say anything?
And it's been a privilege.
Yeah. You got Sean. Thank you. We're going to hopefully be seeing you more now.
Oh yeah.
And I like
Sean's back.
I like the stairs. You kind of look like some English lord or something, with the little thing.
I'll take
I
that.
told
Yeah.
He's been he's been picking up some hours at the Y with me.
Yeah.
And I walked in and he had the little I don't know, evil genius mustache going on. I loved it. I was like, dude, you got to keep it.
Yeah.
I think it's here to stay.
Yeah. It definitely changes you, that's for sure.
Thomas is going to take issue with that.
Yeah.
I have a mustache.
Well, you got the.
You have a
it's
goatee.
different. You got the goatee with it. It's a little
goatee.
different, but it's not connected.
Yeah.
I got you.
You guys got to bring back the sideburns. I always thought the sideburns were pretty good. But so anyway, well, thank you guys. Tyler, anything else we want to just tell people? Can you tell us where everybody to get a hold of us?
Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
Yes.
Email us at lifeguardsoffduty@gmail.com
Email.
or Dr. Catchmore at iCloud.com if your foot's messed up.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. Also, if your foot's messed up. Oh, actually,
I do.
I think. Oh, you guys already did a
No, we didn't do this
consultation
yet, but I have a-
Okay.
No,
Yeah, Sean might need some cortisone shots.
Tell them we got to go to our.
Oh wait, no, I actually forgot. Thank you for bringing that up because I want to bring this up on air and rub this in your face a little bit. This kid, so we started off. It's an 80-mile challenge, right? He had
he hurt his
30
foot.
miles in the first week, and when he was at 15 after 2 days, I said to everybody, he's gonna burn himself out.
Yep,
He's gonna
that's what
hurt
happened.
himself. And I walk into work today, and I'm like, "Did you run this morning?" And he just goes, "Tendonitis."
Yeah, you can't do that.
And I felt bad, but I just
No,
started laughing
no,
so
you can't-
hard.
You can't do that.
You're like, Adam's
But-
gonna love it when he hears about this.
I
But-
would run right now if I could.
Just do me a favor. Tell people about our webpage because we're going to have shirts for sale soon.
Yeah,
you know.
so Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center, we're going to get some shirts up on there. We're in the process of building lifeguardsoffduty.com. We're on Audible, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Facebook, Google Play, Spotify, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and probably other places. Oh, Rumble. We're live on Rumble.
Rumble, yes.
And, at any point during the show, if you're watching and we're live, look at that number down at the bottom and you can call us and we'll have a chat. This has been Lifeguards Off Duty.
Does Donna know can you take
Mom.
us out, Mom? You
All
know.
right, so you do know this. The second quiz of the show.
Yeah.
The announcement at the end of the day on
The
the,
last-
beach when
the
they
last
clear the
words.
beach. You've stayed till beach clearing time many times. What is the last part they say?
God bless America.
No.
No?
Stay
No,
out and
no.
stay
Oh,
alive.
that's true.
So can you
So
say
let's
that
hear
for
it.
us?
Stay out and stay alive.
Right
There we
on.
go. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back here next week, Tuesday. And again, you know how to get a hold of us. Thank you. Give us an email and tell us what you want us to talk about. We certainly could, talk about it for you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Adios, gang.